Welcome back. It's been a little while. I had a little fun this weekend in Spokane with family. I got to see Hamilton, which I very much enjoyed, but I finally have my next video out for Josh Does Movies. And even though there wasn't too much to do with the box office this weekend, I thought about making a movie when I got back home last night covering Doctor Strange, becoming the number one movie worldwide this year and kind of its hold week to week. I was tired. I didn't feel up to it. So I'm going to continue the box office this week when we see how this movie I'm reviewing tonight does. That's right. I was lucky enough to find my way into an early showing of Top Gun Maverick and IMAX nonetheless. The new Tom Cruise action flick, the sequel to the 1986 movie that we all know and love, Top Gun. Now, there's a few things I definitely feel coming into this movie. One, there was a lot of hype from it from critics. It has a pretty high critic score. It got very well received at Cannes Film Festival. This movie going in has a lot of hype to it. And I'm going to have my own little spin on it, what I think about the movie overall. But I'm going to lead out with just saying this off the top that this movie is very, very good. And if there was, and I'll go into it more later, but I don't know what category it fits into, but how they filmed the jets scenes in this movie with all the training dogfights and things that go on throughout the movie with the mission that Tom Cruise is assigned to help assist with, um, breathtaking and amazing and something I feel like you've never seen before in movies. This the reason why it feels and looks so practical is because it is. You can go online, you can look and see, but this movie, they actually had all of the actors who flew in the movie go on a multiple month training session. And even though when they're up there, you can kind of tell a little bit and you can see that they aren't doing the most advanced type maneuverings like you see from actual Top Gun pilots, but they are able to give you an experience that feels so much more real and so much more intense because of how they did that. I'll go into that a lot more in the things that I like this movie for, but I have to lead off the top of the bat that this is a very enjoyable movie. And my recommendation is if you loved the first Top Gun movie, if you're looking for a date night movie, if you're looking for a movie that it's going to really give you a full theatrical experience, Top Gun Maverick is going to be that. I fully recommend if you're wanting to think if you're on the edge of going to see this movie this weekend, go and see it. Try and find one of the best if you can find an IMAX, if you can find a Dolby Atmos or a Dolby Digital. Find a specialty big screening for it because this movie was just incredible all the way around, and visually speaking, and everything that works for it that way. Now, the reason why I might say it's very good instead of it's overall great or amazing, like top notch, is because I do have some issues with the story overall, including what was seemed to be a thrown together love interest for Tom Cruise, played by Jennifer Connelly. I'm not here to say Connelly played the interest bad or Tom Cruise played it very bad. They had somewhat decent chemistry, but for having a new for having this movie be a sequel, you know, it just felt like we were just trying to add in a love interest that wasn't from the original movie. And I kept thinking that. I was like, is she from the original movie? No, she's not. With Penny, it just felt very unneeded with the weight of the movie and with the mission they were having to be done. I would have liked it if that part was trimmed a bit and we got to spend that extra time with Cruise and the other pilots at the Top Gun facility and really breaking down the critical nature of this mission and why it is so important to have it, but also why it is a very life or death type of situation for the pilots that will go on it. Um, and and I think the middle part of the movie just tries playing a little bit too much into a Maverick love interest, probably to make this thing somewhat appealing to the female demographic. Not saying that females can't like the planes and the action in this. I definitely think they can, and I think they will. But I feel like Hollywood likes to, they like to have their cookie cutter style things, and they feel if you throw a romantic love interest in the movie, no matter how well it's made or how bad it's made, that it's going to it's going to attract females out more. And I think for how beautiful the love interests were in the first Top Gun movie, they definitely are a letdown in this movie for me. But that's about all I can kind of say negative over to my overall feel. I think this movie in the very beginning hits all of the right notes, letting you know where Maverick is in his life, why he is where he is, and what type of an individual he is. Um, and just you know what why he goes where he goes in the movie. The opening scene with Maverick was very dramatic and very well done, and it showed both his positive nature, but also his flaws off the top, which I like. I was worried about going into this movie that Maverick was going, in some ways it kind of can be, but I was worried that Maverick was going to be a over the top hero character that didn't have very many flaws with him. Where right off the bat, in like this, the first 15 or 20 minutes, I don't even know if it's that long, might even just be the first 10 minutes, we see very clearly why Maverick is still a captain and some of his major flaws as a character in this movie, and things he has to grow a little bit to overcome overall. Miles Teller plays Rooster, who, you know, we come to find out through it's already been shown in trailer, so I'm not going to spoil much. But Rooster is a pilot, joining this Top Gun mission, program training, who is Goose's son from the first movie. Now we all know what happened during the first movie for Top Gun and the connection Goose had with Maverick. And I think in some parts in the beginning, it was a little bit loose on that. I would have liked a little bit more showing of how they felt a little bit. Going a little bit deeper per se. But near the end, the chemistry between Miles Teller and Cruz for Maverick and Rooster was so well done and so well impacted, and you really bought in, and you really rooted for both of them and for this relationship that they that they're trying to figure out with their lives, to come through. And I think that again, Teller does a great job in this role. Jon Hamm as the kind of vice admiral looking over Maverick at the Top Gun facility. Maverick, of course, he's kind of playing a flight instructor for this crew who are they're looking to go on this very highly intense mission that may or may not be successful depending on the training that Maverick's able to give these individuals. And Jon Hamm coming in as Cyclone, the vice admiral above him, does a great job walking the line of understanding Maverick as a character while also following the military protocol and being an actual physical leader that you have to answer to. Um, the Iceman of this movie is Glenn Powell. Not that Iceman is in this movie, so we get one really touching and one really great scene with Val Kilmer, but his presence is felt throughout the whole entire movie. It's very much clear that Iceman is the reason why Maverick is still around in a lot of the cases, in the Navy, and why he has so many opportunities that he might have not had. And how they treat Kilmer's character, I think, may confuse or upset some people, but I thought it was very well done and very touching, as a character overall. But like I said, the new Iceman is played by Glenn Powell, who goes by the call name Hangman, and I actually thought he was the standout for me in the entire movie. I love this arrogant chemistry per se. I love the subtle acting in his face and his kind of emotions, of his growth as a character and as a person, but he still keeps that swagger to him throughout. That again, that reeks of a new Iceman, but something a little bit more, I think, complex than what the original Iceman might have been like. Again, Hangman to me, he was the surprise standout. I thought we were gonna get the boring basic. He was going to be a boring, basic one-note character that maybe turns two-note in the end. But Powell does a great job throughout with his face staying arrogant in some points, but you see his character grow into a different character by the end of it that you buy into and you bring into. Um, some other positives, Ed Harris plays a pretty funny part in the beginning. Lewis Pullman is a consistent lieutenant. throughout this helping cruise. Um, Monica Barboa plays one of the female pilots. Phoenix, she does a pretty good job balancing the movie. I kind of wish we could get more with her character per se. It definitely I was very male heavy, and that's nothing wrong with that. But instead of giving Connolly's characters like this much time and having a written in Tom Cruise love interest, I would have loved if we can bring in more about Phoenix as a character and got more story and more background to her, because I feel like Phoenix, Payback, and Bob in the movie get kind of put in this like a side note, and there's even more cadets after that, but that definitely get in the side note. But definitely, Payback, Phoenix, and Bob. Bob's not bad. Maybe not Bob as much, but I would love to have gone in more with Phoenix. I think there was she was a really interesting character, and I think Monica Barboa did a great job with her. I just wish we got a little bit more and we could flesh her character out more, and we didn't spend so much time with Tom Cruise needing a love interest in this movie. But that's kind of what they were going for. Um, but On to the thing that I personally loved the most in this movie, and I'm not trying to say action in general, but the way they filmed and the way they showed and choreographed these flight sequences and the flight plans and the flight actions, it felt so grounded. It felt so realistic. It felt like you understood. Even something as simple as them mentioning, throughout the movie about a fifth generation fighter, and you get payoff to that in the third act in a way that makes you go back in the movie and realize I now realize why they kept bringing up a fifth generation fighter and why it was such a big deal in the movie. And and it's just, again, huge payoffs in a lot of different ways. The action with the training per se, and all the different maneuvering and some of the dramatic tensions they had while in the training sections, especially between Maverick and Rooster, were incredible to see. You felt like you were actually seeing these people, because you kind of were, fly and dogfighting in the air. And just so well done, so well realized, something you have to see in the best screen in theaters, I personally feel. I know everybody has their 4K Blu-ray TV, and you get a lot out of this, but I definitely think this is a feel where you're gonna want one of those special sound systems that gets you the shake, that gets the vibrations, that gives you the little goosebumps in the back of your neck, because Top Gun Maverick does that very, very well. And while I was personally a little surprised with how the third act went in some different ways, I was no the more happy to see them take on these roles and to take on this feat of filming in these jets, and giving you these high intense sequences where you could feel the tenseness. It's very easy to think that it might be harder for them to give this type of intense feeling, where, because you're going to want to keep the actors and stuff safe overall, but they do an amazing job with that. Doesn't feel like it's the case. And nothing can be said more to all of the people who flew in this movie: Cruise, Teller, Powell. I'm going through the cast here: Monica Barboa, Charles Parnell, Jay Ellis, Danny Ramirez, Greg Tarzan Davis. Like, there was so much people flying in these planes. I commend all of them for signing on in this movie and taking the training on and being brave enough to do that, because if anything goes wrong there, I know they have certain things, but that had, like, one, and also credit to Paramount for, I can't even imagine how this movie got insured. Knowing that so many of these lead actors were in literal fighter planes, shooting the scenes that they did, because if anything ever goes wrong, um, you don't ever want to have that on its head. And it's amazing that it's not amazing that nothing did go wrong, because it was very well planned out, and they had a lot of support, and they had a lot of people watching out to make sure this was the safest it could be. But man, was it worth getting these planes up in the air and having the actors kind of film in the cockpits, and having side jets filming their action. Just, you couldn't believe the shots they got and how real it feels and how real it was. Um, it is a spectacle to see, and I don't know how this could get what type of award you can give this for in the Oscars. It almost feels like it needs to have its own personal technical achievement award. Um, because it was absolutely amazing. I don't know they'd ever give it cinematography and stuff, because it isn't going to be as pretty as some other movies we may see later on this year. But the technical work that went on this, and the practicality of it, or simply put, just amazing and breathtaking, and brought so much to this movie that it was a joy to watch. It was a joy to watch. I had a blast watching this movie, and I can't recommend this enough to anybody. I think if you're a kid, you can love this movie. I think if you're an adult, you can love this movie. This is one where I can say it is a family, like, maybe, this is a film that I think you can take your family to potentially, and you'd be perfectly fine. Overall, I think it is a spectacle, a joyride, and one of the best blockbusters I've seen in recent memory, and living up to something that feels like a blockbuster summer movie. Great feeling to it. It was a just nonstop rush of adrenaline, when they're in the air, and a lot of the a lot of the connections that you see between Rooster and Maverick, really hold up very well. And even though you have a little bit of a weak love interest story, um, this movie is a high recommendation from me. This is, of all the movies I've seen so far in May, this is the one I would tell people to go to. Easy, easy, easy. Which leads us to go to the next part here, which, where would I put this in my top 10 list of the year so far? Now, I can say this: it's made the list. It's a very, very great, very, very good movie. But because of the love interest to it, and because I feel like we didn't get to know enough of the characters that play an important part near the end to feel a connection to them fully, um, I have to put this movie at number 5, just below the Batman. Now, what I will say with this movie list so far in 2022 is, the top 3 kind of have a decent separation from 4 and 5. But I would say 5 to 6 has a pretty gigantic gap. It's a pretty decent gap in there. Um, that, don't think that I feel Top Gun Maverick rated as a movie is something as equal to X or The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I have it and Batman very, very close in my personal feelings of movies overall. I just felt the Batman was a little bit more clean cut. I felt that the characters worked a little better in the Batman and were more fleshed out. And even though I did not like the Batman's third act perfectly that much, and I love Top Gun Mavericks, I think the Batman score is just a little bit above for me. But Top Gun Maverick comes in as a solid number 5. Above it, Belle is an anime movie out of Japan. It actually just released this month here recently, on Blu-ray and digital. So I recommend anybody get a chance to go and see that if you want to. Everything Everywhere All at Once continues to do well in the box office. Amazing movie. I really love The Northman, but Top Gun Maverick for me comes in at number 5. A really, really strong movie, and one that honestly, I kind of want to go back and see in theaters. I know I got to go see Men. I know I got to see Bob's Burgers. I have seen Downton Abbey: A New Era. I saw that with my mom yesterday in Spokane when I was visiting. When we flew in there for Hamilton. And I'll have a review out on that on Thursday. I'm gonna have a few films here. After this, I'm going to film a Marvel review, a Marvel tier list. I have my 19 through 11 Marvel movies to rank. That'll come out tomorrow. And then after that, I'm going to film my Downtown Abbey: A New Era review and see if it ends up on this list or not. And that'll go up on Thursday. And then maybe Friday, I'll see if I can catch Men or the Bob's Burgers. We also have Stranger Things, season 4 coming out. I kind of want to put that on the channel here after I review. I might do it every couple episodes. We'll see how I feel about that. Or if I just do a general part 1 review when I finish the 7 episodes. But I'm looking very forward to that. Obi-Wan debuts. Let's get a lot. If you like TV content, there's a lot coming in movie content. There's a lot around this weekend to like and enjoy. So it's a great time to be a fan of that. But like I said, if you can, give this movie a watch. Go in theaters this weekend. Go and support it, because Even though it is a sequel, it's a sequel to a 1986 Tom Cruise movie, and it feels so different and so lovely compared to some of the other blockbusters we have coming out that I want to see this movie push the box office high. I want to see this movie hit triple digits. I want to see this movie up there with the Batman, with the Multiverse of Madness, which, as you see, Top Gun Maverick knocked the new Doctor Strange movie off my top 10 list. I want to see this movie succeed because I want more movies like this to take the little risks like this and to tell these different stories in different ways and to do more practical things. Practicality felt so great here and I loved it. And again, I can't recommend this movie enough. What were your thoughts if you've seen the movie? Are you gonna go see the movie? Um, do you like the first Top Gun? Leave a like and a comment down below if any of those questions pop up. Subscribe if you like these reviews. I'm doing reviews of just about every movie that releases it this year. I'm putting out, if I'm not busy or doing family stuff, I'm putting out box office, reports on Sundays. Wednesdays, I have a ranking show. Like I said, about going over my 19 through 11 Marvel film list. I've gone through the 28 through 20 so far, as well as the rankings of the Marvel TV shows to date. So give a subscription if you're interested in that content and keep following up. I thank anybody who comes here and gives me support. It's amazing to see people come in and like and make connections that way. But until next time, have a good night and just remember, we have the need for speed. Josh out.